I'm going to share what I do about MS fatigue and what you can do too. Today, I'm going to share 7 ways that I manage fatigue for multiple sclerosis. But before I do, I'm Jenda Tracy. I'm the founder of Women Thriving with MS, and I help guide women to move from surviving with MS to striving with MS to thriving with MS. And I do that through these videos. You can press that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified, as well as one-on-one coaching, online courses, and a free Women Thriving with MS Facebook group. So let's get started. First, I want to share with you a little information about why we MSers burn energy faster. And this information comes from Dr. Timothy West. And really it comes down to inflammation, with the demyelination in the brain, which is when the wires, the myelin gets attacked. When that demyelination happens, it actually means that we burn more energy to do the same tasks that people that don't have MS do. And the fact is that 80% of people living with MS have some sort of fatigue, as well as what happens is that we, even when we're resting, burn more energy, more sugar than those that don't live with MS. Very interesting stuff. So let's dive into the 7 ways that I manage energy. The first, and I'm just going to touch on it slightly today, is diet. For me, I noticed that I was gluten-free, and that when I eat wheat or anything that has gluten in it, I feel more fatigued. So this is something that happens for me that may not happen for you. It is recommended that people living with MS do not eat gluten, but maybe you have absolutely no aversion and that's not an issue for you. I also have very little sugar in my diet. On a day-to-day basis, I'm not eating sugar. Occasionally I treat myself to something, and sometimes I drink Gatorade, which has sugar in it, to give me a bit more energy and a bit more boost, as well as all the electrolytes, which is the key for me. But generally speaking, no dairy, no sugar, and no gluten. Now, I'm not going to get into choosing the best MS diet in this video. I'll do another video about that. The key is, if you have foods that you have sensitivities to, take them out of your diet. And if you notice when you eat something like a piece of bread or some kind of wheat, stay away from it, because it's actually causing more fatigue than you already have. For myself, I wake up in the morning with fatigue, I go to bed with fatigue. So managing fatigue is super, super important to me. The second, number 2, is about exercise. You think that exercise would have a negative impact on fatigue, but actually they say that even if you're really fatigued, it actually doesn't make you feel worse. Now maybe you warm up and you don't feel good for that period of time, but even getting out walking can make a difference. And in my video about being able to sleep when it's hot outside, I talk about the importance of having exercise, including sunset walks, and I'll include that link below so that you can watch that video if you want to hear about it. The third is about breath. Yes, you are breathing. Yes, you are alive. How can you improve your breath so that you bring enough oxygen in the body, and when you breathe out, release the waste, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen, so that everything, all your organs, particularly your heart, are working at its best, and your lungs too, of course, because we don't breathe at full capacity through our lungs. In fact, only about 50%. Doing breathing exercises can be very good. For me, I do respiratory gymnastics, or otherwise known as healing breath. I talk about this quite a bit. Dr. Schmitzman taught me this. He is a Tai Chi master. I do that regularly in the morning. For breath work, I also do meditation. So getting your lungs moving, getting that breath happening. It's like exercising. When you're exercising, when you're doing cardio of some sort, walking fast, or maybe you're pushing your wheelchair or using a walker or cane or whatever you're doing, or hiking mountains, depending on where you're at in your MS journey. Getting that heart beating is so important. It helps create energy in the body. Number four is about resting and napping. For me, napping is vital. I do it every afternoon, and if I don't have time to actually have a nap, I at least lay down horizontal and have a rest. I close my eyes, I do some breathing. It's amazing how even laying down for 5, 10, 15 minutes can make a big difference. I think, our penthouse suite, this noggin up here, not only the MS in the brain, but what's going on in our mind, if we can just relax a little bit, then we give ourselves a break. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we burn more sugar in our brain when we live with MS. However, resting is still so important. I know that when I don't rest, I feel cranky, I feel more moody. Can you relate to that? The fatigue just feels bigger, especially when your mood is off. Then your window of tolerance is smaller, and that can be a problem. So resting and napping can be amazing. Now, I only nap for anywhere from 20 minutes, usually to half an hour, unless I have nothing else planned and I really didn't have a very good sleep. And we'll talk about sleep in a minute. So that's important. Number five is all about vitamin B and getting that vitamin B into your system. Some people get vitamin B shots. Some people take it as a tablet. I take a homeopathic vitamin B complex that's there to support me. I would say it might give me a little bit of a pep, It doesn't change everything, because waking up with fatigue and going to bed with fatigue is with me constantly. But I do find that when I'm doing all of these actions that I'm describing to you, all these steps, all these ways, that I'm able to just manage mentally better around the fatigue. So it's not just managing energy, it's also managing how you can cope with what you're doing. Do you ever find that when you're really absorbed in a task, or doing something fun, or really enjoying yourself, and you're not even paying attention at all to the fatigue? You might feel it later, but you're so immersed in what you're doing and there's enjoyment in there that you don't even notice it. And that is amazing. So when you have that, it kind of distracts you from the fatigue. And I find that when I'm coaching clients or teaching or doing a live like this, even if I came into the situation with fatigue, I all of a sudden feel energized because I'm engaged in an activity, and I find that to be very beneficial. Now, that's not on the 7 ways, but it is something I wanted to mention here. Number 6 is about caffeine. Now, I don't do hardly any caffeine because homeopathics and caffeine are not good together. But when I really need a pick-me-up, I will have a green tea. Maybe you do caffeine as well. It's best only to have caffeine up till about 11 in the morning. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult, even potentially, to sleep at night. I really notice it when that happens if I do it later in the day. Sometimes I'll have some really good quality dark chocolate, high levels, like 80, 90% dark vegan gluten-free chocolate that has a low level of sugar. And that's when I really need a push to get me through, because I am not a coffee drinker. And number 7, the big one, sleep. So we know that no matter how much sleep you get, if you have a constant experience with fatigue, like myself, it's still going to be there. It's just to what degree can you cope better when you have a better sleep. And I've done a video, I just mentioned this earlier, on when it's hot and you have difficulty with the heat and it makes it difficult to sleep. There are many different things that you can do in those situations. So I'll put a link to that video below. For me, If I can have a good night's sleep, I definitely am in a better mood. I'm more able to get out of bed in the morning. I'm ready to go to start my day. You need to get to bed at a decent time. You don't want to be scrolling on your phone before you go to bed. That's not going to help you sleep. And having a regular bedtime is ideal. I can say that my bedtime isn't perfect, but I ensure that I ideally get to bed before I'm really, really totally fatigued, because I find that if I'm too tired, if I'm too fatigued, it's almost impossible to fall asleep. A little bonus tip, and maybe you are already on medication, I don't take something to sleep every night. Maybe you have a sleeping aid that you take. Maybe that helps you so you don't have to get up to use the bathroom as often, which means you're not getting up as many times in the night. And I hear you. I get up several times a night to use the bathroom. Occasionally, if I have a big day the next day and it's super important and I need to guarantee a good night's sleep, I will take a low dose of Ativan to help me. That's something that is kind of in my emergency kit. I'm not taking that on a regular basis. I'm not taking it Monday to Friday or all weekend. I'm just taking it on the odd occasion, maybe once a week when I've got something big happening and I need a little extra support. And the importance of that is so you don't get addicted to it, but it's there to support you, relax your body. So maybe you are on medication on an ongoing basis and that works for you. What I have found personally for myself is things stop working after a while. The body gets used to it. So that's another reason why I don't take that medication, Ativan, very often, but it does kind of calm my mind if I'm really riled up and I have a big day the next day. Diet, exercise, breath work, naps and rest, vitamin B, caffeine occasionally, and focus on getting to bed at a good time and not scrolling on your phone before you go to sleep. So lastly, what I want to share with you is going back to Dr. Timothy West. He is a program specialist on MS at the Cleveland Clinic. And I learned so much about all the different ways that we as people with MS can really suffer from fatigue. And a lot of them are not just MS related. They can be stress related, depression related. It could be some other thing that they find in your body, like diabetes, and he has a really extensive video on that. I'm going to ensure that video link is available below so you can watch it. So I'm Jen Tracy, the founder of Women Thriving with MS. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to click that link and hit the bell to be notified, and I will see you soon.